Ancient Greece, a world where gods, heroes, and monsters had more complicated relationships than those we find on Pornhub. Today, our focus is on some of these popular Greek monsters who have backstories deeper than the cleavage of Billie Eilish. Number 1. Minotaur. Minotaur was a creature that was part bull, part man, and all trouble. So, there was this king named Minos, and he had an issue with Poseidon, the god of the sea. Long story short, Minos promised to sacrifice a beautiful white bull to Poseidon, but got greedy, so he swapped it for a regular one. Bad move, Minos, bad move. Poseidon was not thrilled, and as the gods tend to do, he decided to stir up some drama. He made the wife of Minos, Queen Pasiphae, fall in love with the same bull. Yes, things got weird and Pasiphae developed an unquenchable lust for this bull. But the bull was playing hard to get. It showed no interest in Pasiphae. To mate with the bull at any cost, she had Daedalus, a legendary architect, build a wooden cow for her. Her genius plan was to hide inside the wooden cow to seduce the bull. And guess what? The plan worked. Pasiphae got her meat in her makeshift cow, and the result was the Minotaur, a half-human, half-bull monstrosity. But what do you do with a creature like that? You can't exactly invite it over for a cup of tea. So King Minos did what any king with a legendary architect would do. He ordered Daedalus to construct a maze called the Labyrinth to lock the Minotaur away. Number 2. Medusa. Medusa was a beauty turned into a beast. She is the lady with snakes for hair and a gaze that could turn you to stone. So, once upon a time, there was this beautiful lady named Medusa. She was quite the looker. But, and there's always a but in these stories, she caught the eye of Poseidon, the god of the sea. Now, Poseidon wasn't exactly known for his rizzing skills, and things got a bit messy. Medusa, being a priestess of Athena, decided to seek refuge in Athena's temple. But gods and their drama, right? Athena wasn't thrilled that her sacred space became the main stage for a romantic drama. So, instead of helping out, Athena cursed Medusa, turning her hair into a nest of venomous snakes and making her gaze turn people into stone. Not exactly the outcome Medusa was hoping for. But hey, it did help Medusa from Poseidon. Now, with her new snaky hair and stony stare, Medusa became a bit of a problem. She wasn't exactly winning any popularity contests. Perseus, a hero on a quest, decided he needed her head, not for a keepsake, mind you, but as a gift for the king who sent him on this wild goose chase. But here's the catch. Looking directly at Medusa would be a one-way ticket to becoming a garden ornament. So Perseus, being the clever hero he was, got some shiny shield from Athena. He sneaked up on Medusa using the reflection in the shield, and snip-snap, off went her head. Now heads up, because even in death, Medusa's head retained her powers. Perseus used it to turn enemies into statues. Number 3. Hydra. So, there was this swamp in Greece, and in it lived the Hydra, a giant serpent with not one, not two, but multiple heads. The exact number varies in different tales. Some say 9 heads, some say 100 heads. So let's settle for a bunch of heads. Now, the Hydra wasn't your typical water-dwelling serpent. Each time someone tried to chop off one of its heads, 2 more grew in its place. Talk about a stubborn creature. This made the Hydra nearly impossible to defeat, and it terrorized the region, snacking on locals and generally causing a ruckus. Enter our hero for the day, Hercules, the guy with muscles that had muscles. Hercules went head-to-head with the multi-headed menace. But here's the catch. For every head he chopped off, 2 more sprouted up. It was like playing a never-ending game of whack-a-mole with a very grumpy serpent. Being the clever guy he was, Hercules called in his nephew for backup. As Hercules swung his sword, his nephew cauterized the stumps of necks with fire, preventing new heads from regenerating. Teamwork, folks. Eventually, Hercules managed to lop off the final immortal head and buried it deep underground. Number 4. Argus. Argus was no ordinary dude. He was a giant monster with 100 eyes covering his body. Yeah, you heard that right. 100 eyes. Imagine trying to sneak up on this guy. Good luck with that. Argus was literally the ultimate surveillance system in ancient Greece. No secrets around this fella. Now, why did Argus have all those eyes? Well, it's a bit of a sad story. He was assigned by the goddess Hera to watch over a beautiful cow named Io. But why would Hera need a 100-eyed babysitter for a cow, you ask? Well, turns out Io wasn't just any cow. She was a nymph turned into a cow to hide from the lustful eyes of Zeus, Hera's husband. Argus did his job diligently, never taking a nap, and never blinking, probably because he had so many eyes. He took turns closing a few at a time. This made it nearly impossible for Zeus to rescue Io without being noticed. But you know Zeus. He always finds a way. He sent one of his sons, Hermes, to lull Argus to sleep with his enchanting stories. And guess what? It worked like a charm. One by one, Argus's eyes started closing until he was snoring away. Then Hermes took out his sword and, well, let's just say Argus had a permanent nap. But the story doesn't end there. Hera, upon learning about the demise of Argus, was pretty upset. To honor his loyal service, she took his eyes and scattered them on the tail of her favorite bird, the peacock. So, next time you see a peacock showing off its beautiful tail feathers, just remember it's carrying a piece of Argus with it. Number 5. Cyclops. Cyclops is a creature with a singular eye and a knack for causing trouble. In the Greek myths, there were several Cyclopes, but the one we'll focus on is Polyphemus. Now, Polyphemus wasn't your friendly neighborhood giant. He was a son of Poseidon, the god of the sea. And boy, did he have an eye-catching feature. So, here's where things get interesting. Enter our hero Odysseus, the wily and wise Greek guy on a journey back home after the Trojan War. He and his crew found themselves on the Cyclops Island. Being the curious bunch they were, they decided to explore their caves. Polyphemus, not exactly thrilled with visitors, captured Odysseus and his men and decided to make a meal out of them. But Odysseus, being the crafty guy he was, came up with a genius plan. When Polyphemus asked for Odysseus's name, our hero cleverly replied, "Nobody." Smart move, right? Now, as Polyphemus enjoyed his dinner, they took a massive wooden stake and drove it into the Cyclops' eye. Polyphemus, in agony, cried out to his fellow Cyclopes for help, saying, "Nobody is hurting me. See what Odysseus did there? Genius, right?" The other Cyclopes, thinking he was fine and dandy, left him alone, and Odysseus and his crew managed to escape. But the adventure did not end there. As Odysseus and his crew sailed away, our hero couldn't resist a bit of boasting. He shouted his real name to Polyphemus, telling him who had outsmarted him. "Bad move, Odysseus, bad move." Polyphemus, furious, and now knowing the culprit, asked his father Poseidon to curse Odysseus. And that, my friends, is why Odysseus faced so many challenges on his long journey home. Number 6. Sirens. Imagine sailing the high seas, minding your own business, and suddenly you hear the most mesmerizing melodies drifting through the air. Those would be the sirens. Half-bird, half-woman beings, perched on the rocky shores, singing songs that could make you forget your own name. The problem: getting too close to the sirens usually meant disaster. These lovely ladies had a taste for tragedy, and sailors who couldn't resist their song would find themselves shipwrecked on the rocky shores and become their food. Not exactly the vacation they had in mind. When he heard about the sirens, he came up with a genius plan. Odysseus knew that resisting the sirens' song was nearly impossible, so he decided to outsmart them. He ordered his crew to plug their ears with beeswax so they wouldn't be tempted by the melody. But being the curious guy he was, Odysseus wanted to experience the enchanting tunes without risking disaster. So he had himself tied to the mast of his ship and instructed his crew not to release him no matter how much he begged. This way he could listen to the sirens' song without steering the ship into doom. As the ship sailed past the sirens, Odysseus was enchanted by their music, yearning to join them on the shore. But thanks to his genius plan, he stayed put, and his crew safely sailed through the perilous waters. If you enjoyed diving into the depths of Greek mythology with me today, don't forget to subscribe for more legendary content. Who knows, maybe we'll uncover the secret recipe for ambrosia next. It's to die for.